350,000. People crossing this border every single day. Average time, 3 hours. In 5 months, 5 minutes. 350,000 people. Every day. The same crossing. The same congestion. The same hours lost sitting in a queue that has been the defining daily experience of this border for decades. In 5 months that crossing takes 5 minutes. And the question nobody is answering specifically enough is this. What actually happens to the city on the Malaysian side of that crossing on the day the doors open? Not in 5 years. Not in theory. On the day. January 1st, 2027. What changes in Johor Bahru between December 31st and January 2nd? That is what this video is about. And the answer is more specific, more documented, and more consequential than most of the coverage of this project has captured. Welcome to Shifted Perspective. This channel tracks what is actually happening before the mainstream figures it out. Subscribe right now so you never miss what we uncover. Hit like if you have been watching this project and never heard the opening day story told this specifically. Drop one word in the comments, ready or waiting. Tell me where you stand on January 1st, 2027. Let us get into it. To understand what changes on January 1st, you need to understand what exists on December 31st. Because the transformation only makes sense against the baseline it is replacing. 350,000 people cross between Johor Bahru and Singapore every day. The vast majority of them cross by road, the causeway and the second link. At peak hour, the causeway is one of the most congested border crossings in the world. The journey from central Johor Bahru to Singapore's central business district by road at peak hour takes 2 to 3 hours on a normal day. On a bad day it takes longer. The congestion is not an occasional inconvenience. It is the defining daily reality of 250,000 working commuters who have built their entire lives around a border that extracts hours from every working day as the price of admission. The people who bear this cost are not wealthy Singaporeans with flexible schedules. They are the Malaysian workers who earn Singapore dollars and spend them in Malaysia. The cross-border commuters whose financial model depends on the Singapore salary and the Malaysian cost of living but whose daily quality of life is determined by how long the causeway queue runs on any given morning. Many of them leave home at 5 in the morning to beat the worst of it. Many of them do not return until 9 at night. The arithmetic of their lives is built around a 3-hour crossing that they have accepted as permanent because for their entire working lives it has been permanent. On January 1st, 2027 it is not permanent anymore. Here is what January 1st, 2027 actually looks like operationally. Not the promise. The mechanics. The RTS Link connects Bukit Chagar station in central Johor Bahru to Woodlands North station in Singapore. 4 kilometers. 5 minutes. The train runs driverless on a fully automated system with a peak frequency of 1 departure every 3.6 minutes. 10,000 passengers per hour in each direction at maximum capacity. 140,000 daily passengers at the long-term target. The co-located customs, immigration and quarantine facility is the specific engineering achievement that makes the crossing genuinely 5 minutes rather than 5 minutes plus 45 minutes of immigration queuing. At both Bukit Chagar and Woodlands North, passengers clear both countries' immigration requirements before they board the train at their departure station. Malaysian passengers departing from Bukit Chagar clear Malaysian exit and Singapore entry simultaneously in one facility before boarding. They arrive at Woodlands North and walk straight out. No second queue. No second counter. The crossing time is the train time. The RTS Link is the single most important infrastructure project for Johor's property market this decade. That assessment comes from property research published March 2026. It is not a promotional statement. It is a structural observation about what happens when a city that has been functionally isolated from its nearest major economic partner by a 3-hour commute becomes a 5-minute commute away from that partner. From central Johor Bahru to Singapore's CBD in under an hour. 5 minutes on the RTS Link. Transfer at Woodlands North to the Thomson East Coast MRT line. Approximately 45 minutes to the heart of Singapore's financial district. For the cross-border commuter who has been spending 3 hours each way, 6 hours per day, that reduction is not a convenience. It is 3 to 4 hours of their life returned to them every single working day. So what does that return of time produce economically? Because the opening day effects are not just about commuters. They ripple across every economic category in Johor Bahru simultaneously. The first and most immediate effect is consumer spending. JLL reported that Johor Bahru's average serviced apartment transaction prices increased by 20.4% in the second quarter of 2025 compared with the 2024 annual average. That appreciation happened before the train opened, before a single paying passenger crossed. The Singapore Business Federation projected that Singapore residents will spend an additional SGD 1.05 billion annually in Johor Bahru after the RTS Link opens. 51% more Singapore consumer trips to JB. 11.2 million additional return journeys every year from Singapore to Johor Bahru. Those 11.2 million additional trips are not abstract economic projections. They are 11.2 million instances of a Singapore resident choosing a restaurant, a nail salon, a healthcare appointment, a grocery run, a weekend activity in Johor Bahru rather than in Singapore because the 5-minute crossing makes it viable in a way that the 3-hour crossing did not. The food and beverage operators, the retail tenants, the healthcare providers, and the service businesses that have been positioning in the right locations around Bukit Chagar for the past 18 months are not waiting for the economic effect to materialize. They are already benefiting from the anticipation. On January 1st, the anticipation becomes the reality. The second effect is residential demand. Johor Bahru is now Malaysia's fastest growing property market with experts forecasting steady growth of 6.78% compound annual growth rate through 2031. The residential story breaks into two distinct groups whose motivations are different but whose impact on the market is cumulative. The first group is Malaysian cross-border workers. The person who has been waking at 5 in the morning to beat the causeway queue can now live comfortably in Johor Bahru and reach their Singapore workplace in under an hour. For this person, the RTS Link does not just reduce commute time. It makes a life in Johor Bahru, with its dramatically lower housing costs, its lower cost of living, its community and its culture, genuinely compatible with a Singapore career for the first time. Properties that offer frictionless connectivity to the RTS backed by modern lifestyle amenities will continue to command premium rents and near-zero vacancy rates. The second group is Singaporean residents. Singapore's economic influence could begin moving farther into Johor Bahru. The RTS Link does not eliminate the border, but it may reduce the practical importance of that border for certain households and businesses. A Singapore worker earning a Singapore dollar salary can live in a fully furnished condominium near the Bukit Chagar station for around 1,800 ringgit per month, roughly 540 Singapore dollars. A comparable unit in Woodlands, Singapore costs upward of 2,500 Singapore dollars. The monthly saving is nearly 2,000 Singapore dollars every month, without changing employers, without leaving the Singapore labor market. The third effect is commercial and industrial. The RTS will enhance transportation efficiency, benefiting industrial properties focused on logistics, distribution, and warehousing. This can make areas in Johor Bahru more attractive to companies dealing with cross-border trade, e-commerce, and manufacturing. The RTS Link will boost cross-border operations, making it easier for professionals, investors, and goods to move between Johor and Singapore. Johor's role as a strategic business hub will strengthen, especially with the JS-SEZ facilitating growth in key sectors like technology, logistics, and manufacturing. Johor's GDP is expected to expand by 5.0% to 5.5% in 2026, buoyed by electronics manufacturing, petrochemicals, and a growing services sector anchored by the JS-SEZ. The JS-SEZ, 3,288 square kilometers of Johor with corporate tax as low as 5%, depends entirely on the free movement of people and capital across the strait for its effectiveness. The RTS Link is the physical engine that makes the JS-SEZ function at the human level. A company setting up in the JS-SEZ on January 1, 2027 has something no company in Johor has ever had before. 5-minute access to Singapore's financial infrastructure, its talent pool, its corporate services, and its international connectivity while operating at Malaysian cost levels and Malaysian tax rates. Here is what the opening day coverage will not tell you. Because the RTS Link story has produced some of the most enthusiastic property promotion content in Malaysian real estate history, and that enthusiasm has not always been balanced by precision. The Johor property market in 2026 is not booming everywhere, and that is exactly why it matters. Growth is no longer broad. It is concentrated, driven by infrastructure, cross-border demand, and specific locations that are outperforming the rest. With the Johor-Singapore RTS Link nearing completion, the market is entering a new phase where the difference between the right and wrong investment is becoming clearer than ever. The location precision point cannot be overstated. The properties within walking distance of Bukit Chagar station are experiencing the appreciation the headline numbers describe. Properties 4 kilometers away from the station in parts of Johor Bahru that are not served by the RTS feeder network are not experiencing the same effects. The 6.78% compound annual growth rate forecast is a market average. The range around that average is wide. Properties in the wrong location within Johor Bahru are not going to benefit from the RTS Link in any meaningful time frame. Properties in the right location are already reflecting effects that will compound from January 1st onward. The last mile problem is the second thing the coverage underreports. Passengers exit the Bukit Chagar station and need to reach their final destination in Johor Bahru. The feeder bus network, the ride-hailing infrastructure, the road capacity in the immediate catchment area, these determine whether the 5-minute crossing produces a genuinely seamless end-to-end experience or a 5-minute crossing with a 20-minute congestion appendage. The Johor state government is finalizing local transport connections. The works are in progress. But they are not yet complete, and the first months of operations will reveal the gaps in the last-mile network more clearly than any planning document has. The capacity question is the third honest consideration. 10,000 passengers per hour in each direction is the maximum capacity. 140,000 daily passengers is the long-term target. 350,000 people currently cross the border every day. At full capacity, the RTS Link handles roughly 40% of current daily crossings. The causeway does not close on January 1st. The road traffic continues. What changes is the calculus for the specific group of commuters, primarily those traveling to and from central Singapore without vehicles, for whom the RTS is the obviously superior option. The rest continue as before while the network matures and ridership builds toward its long-term target. 5 months. 153 days. That is what sits between today and the morning when the first passenger walks into Bukit Chagar station, clears immigration at a co-located facility, boards a driverless train, and arrives in Woodlands North 5 minutes later, having crossed the border that 350,000 people cross every day in a fraction of the time it has ever taken before. Johor Bahru has spent years in the shadow of the Klang Valley, weighed down by oversupply headlines, forest city skepticism, and a property market that never quite lived up to Iskandar Malaysia's original promise. In 2026, the narrative is changing. The narrative is changing because a specific, dated, confirmed, on-schedule piece of infrastructure is 5 months from opening. Not because the story has improved, because the infrastructure has been built. The Bukit Chagar station is finished. The trains are in the depot. The testing is underway. The immigration systems are being integrated. The feeder routes are being finalized. The operators who understood this 2 years ago are positioned. The ones who understand it today are still in time. January 1st, 2027 is not a promise. It is a calendar date with a confirmed opening attached to it. And what happens to Johor Bahru on that date is not speculation. It is the documented, projected, already partially visible consequence of a 5-minute crossing replacing a 3-hour one. The city is already changing. The crossing just has not opened yet. I want to hear from you. Are you a cross-border commuter right now doing the causeway or the second link every day? Tell me in one sentence what January 1st changes for your daily life. And if you are a property owner or investor in Johor Bahru, where exactly are you positioned relative to Bukit Chagar, and what has happened to your property value in the last 12 months? Drop it in the comments. One sentence. Your situation. And tell me ready or waiting. Subscribe right now because Shifted Perspective is tracking every week of this countdown to January 1st. I will see you in the next one.